Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm very excited to finally bring you a review for the new Transformers War for Seibertron Kingdom Golden Disc Collection Mutant Tigatron. Like the other Golden Disc Collection figures, this is an Amazon exclusive here in the United States. And it is releasing a little over a month early compared to its original ship date. Now, the first two figures in the collection actually were released far earlier than even that, despite them all being slated for, I think it was like March 1st or so. So, it would have been nice if this guy came earlier, but it's still earlier than what they said, so pretty good. Hopefully that means Pterosaur, the final piece of this puzzle, is coming soon, but we'll see what happens there. So, if you've seen my reviews before, you know this goes. We're going to take a look at Tigatron's packaging, then we'll open it up, we'll check out the instructions, and we'll see Tigatron himself in both Beast and Robot modes. Naturally, we're doing plenty of group shots and comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll get my final thoughts. So Tigatron comes in this special edition packaging, which forms 1/4 of the aforementioned golden disc of Beast Wars fame, and it's designed to be placed with the other 4 boxes to complete, the full picture of the disc. As such, it's a little on the plain side compared to your normal Kingdom packaging, but still more intricate than your boring, cardboard mailer box style packages from Selects. So you can see the Kingdom logo here, Golden Disc Collection, Mutant Tigatron, all your logos and stuff. Here's part of the Golden Disc. Up here, just got some more branding in the name. Voyager class here with some stars and stuff. More of the Golden Disc with a big old cut in the edge of the box. This has been happening a lot with Amazon stuff lately. It's really getting on my nerves. Then on the back here, you get renders of the toy in both Beast and Robot modes. It takes 22 steps to transform. You get your cave background here with the Maximal symbol in the corner, and then you get some claw marks along the back wall. Now, for anybody that's not familiar with what this toy is supposed to be, it's actually an homage to the original packaging art of the Beast Wars Tigatron toy back from 1996. And what's significant about that art is that it depicted Tigatron in his prototype colors, those of a standard orange tiger, rather than the white that the toy would eventually become. And it also showed him using his mutant head accessory rather than his standard robot head. So this toy is an homage to that. You got your orange tiger colors, you got your mutant head inspired face there, much in the same vein as Shadow Panther from Kingdom. So that's what the main point of this toy is, and then within canon, based on the short story provided for the Golden Disc collection, this is supposed to be an alternate universe variant of Tigatron, where he's been corrupted by the energy wave that normally changed a bunch of the Beast Wars characters into their transmetal forms, but in this universe had some really, different consequences. And in this universe, Tigatron became mutated by the wave, and I guess that explains why he has a mutant head, because they've never really been used in fiction. They were just a part of the original toys. So I guess that explains why he's so monstrous looking. And then I don't know if the fact that he's orange is supposed to be as a result of the mutation, or if in that particular universe he just happened to take the form of a standard orange tiger. Not sure. They never really give an explanation for his colors there. But yeah, he basically becomes a mindless beast and ends up being a patsy for Pterosaur for a while. So he'll play into, his story here. Now, personally, not super crazy about most of the backstory that's been provided for this collection, especially when it comes to things like Puffer just being a DBZ style fusion of Pipes and Huffer rather than his own character. I thought that was kind of a miss there. Had the opportunity to make it a whole new character, and instead they just said he was, the Gogeta of Transformers. And I'm not really crazy about, Tigatron's backstory here. Personally, instead of making this Mutant Tigatron, I think he should have just been a new character, much in the vein of Shadow Panther. Just have him be a different tiger character. I think more people would have been drawn to that than him just being an orange version of Tigatron. Because that way you can achieve, the Tigatron packaging homage, but still have a new character on the roster rather than repeat something that's still pretty easy to find on retail shelves. Because the standard white Tigatron is plentiful, being included in both the 3rd and 4th waves of the Kingdom Voyager assortment. So, yeah, not what I would have done, but maybe you like it. I don't know. So, mention how this can combine with other boxes. So just to show that off, we have our boxes for Jackpot and then Puffer and Road Ranger here. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of stack them up as far back as I can so you guys can see. Is it all in the shot? It is. Perfect. All right, so 3/4 of the way there. And then naturally, Pterosaur's box would fill out this little gap right here. And, I mean, it is what it is. Not my favorite bit of packaging. I don't think it's nearly as cool as some of those, like, combined battle scene ones they've done for Amazon. But it's okay. It's a neat gimmick. And I guess if you want to, you could, like, cut the fronts off of these and make a poster out of it. All right, here are the instructions for our Mutant Tigatron. And it appears to be almost identical to the standard release. Obviously, they changed the face here to the mutant head. They add the word mutant in front of his name, and then you get this little call out right here to the Golden Disc Collection. But when you get into the actual steps, it's all the same. You got your weapon placement, and then you get your transformation from robot to tiger, complete with that absolute abomination of a weapon storage that hasn't gotten any better with this release. So yeah, if you know my thoughts on that, you know I'm not happy about it. But, I mean, I was expecting it, right? This is just a recolor, more or less. Now we get Tigatron's Beast Mode, complete with this disgusting growth on his underside, that tumor of a weapon. Aside from that, it's really bad weapon storage that I can't get over. Just seriously. I think the Tiger Mode looks great. One big difference between the finished product and the renders is that a lot of the bluish green plastic has been swapped out for orange, and a lot of the white paint apps have been dropped. Now, much like the Netflix recoloring of Kingdom Cheetor, these changes seem to favor the Beast Mode over the Robot Mode, because it makes the Beast Mode look just a little more, you know, complete, a little less broken up with the colors, more realistic, because he should be mostly orange with just kind of a white face and underbelly, which is more or less what he achieves. There was originally like a lot of white here. There's a lot of white on this little panel. He had some blue bits showing here and there, and like the ankle joints. And they got rid of a lot of that, which makes it much more cohesive looking as a tiger. The only blue that's really shining through here is this hinge right at the base of the neck. So, good for the Beast Mode at least. All of his tolerances in this mode are just as good as the regular Tigatron's. His mouth still opens and closes. And the teeth are actually painted white. Doesn't like to open very well. See, they did bother to paint the teeth. Not the tongue, but at least the teeth are painted. You know, nice detailing around the eyes, the face here. And, you know, the legs move the way they're supposed to. He's got, like, pretty complex ankle joints in his robot ankles here, because you got, like, a ball joint, but then you also got these hinge bits here. So, you know, he's very posable for what he is, and looks quite good as a realistic tiger. Here's a comparison shot with your white Tigatron, and as you can see, mold hasn't changed here. One thing that's interesting is that the paint mask for the stripes is identical between both of these. And then where the difference, you know, comes in as far as paint is our original Tigatron had some yellowing in certain parts, right here on the cheeks, on the legs, the hindquarters. And that was to make him look more realistic, because in the wild, white tigers are hardly ever completely white. More like just very faded looking. Now, I wasn't a big fan of that approach. I know they're trying to go for the realistic beast modes, but Tigatron always looks better when he's just this nice snowy white color. And I always thought this yellowing was just far, far too reminiscent of the actual photo-degraded yellow that old school Tigatron toys actually end up taking on over the years. So it wasn't my favorite choice, personally. I think they should have just kept him like purely black and white, much like the upcoming vintage release. I think that thing looks just really stellar. So yeah, this guy, instead of getting this, you know, yellowing bit here and there, he just gets white patterning, mostly on the face and the chest area. And that's really it. You see some white here, but that's for the robot details, as well as a little bit there. And you get a little bit of a sneak peek of some robot bits right there. I think I actually like this new Tigatron's Beast Mode a little bit more, just because it does look very much like a realistic tiger. And again, the realism they were going for here just makes his tiger mode look kind of splotchy and not great. Even if it is more realistic, I actually find myself gravitating more toward this one now. Because the painted details they do include actually look like patterns that are supposed to be there and not, you know, I left my Tigatron in the windowsill for too long. Alright, now we get to see our Tigatron in robot mode. And nothing too surprising here. He carries over a lot of the color layout of the standard issue Tigatron. Now there are some small differences. Primarily here on the shin area, it uses this white cream color, similar to what you find on the face, for that leg armor instead of the greenish blue that he uses for the rest of his armor. I'm not sure why that change was made, but for some reason they went with it. Maybe they just thought it looked less, I don't know, eye-searing on the tiger mode than a blue color. Like, even though, you know, it doesn't really blend in with the back of the legs very well, at least looks like a natural fur color instead of bright blue. So maybe that's why they did it. I'm not really sure. But you can see here's his new face, his new mutant mask-inspired face, and it does a pretty good job. It's just the same back of the head with a new, like, front screwed on or glued on, or however they put it on there. And it's got gold for the eyes, which is very nice. It does, unfortunately, because the mask doesn't really fill the whole, like, surface area of the back of the head. You do see some holes in there. Right there, you kind of see the inside of his head a little bit, which, I mean, it's not super noticeable. You'll also notice that the way this is built, it, like, comes out a little bit, like those little fang details on the old mutant head, which is pretty nice. In fact, let's see, it's hard to tell where the front ends and the back begins a little bit. It looks like right up to this ridge, because these little horn-looking details are not present on the regular Tigatron head, or, you know, fangs or tusks or whatever. But overall, it does look good. The green used is actually a bit different than the green used on the regular Tigatron, and what it looks like is that it's mostly inspired by the shade used in the artwork, more so than anything else. It's definitely closer to like a turquoise than the more like a sky blue jade kind of thing that they're doing with the regular Kingdom toy. So it's a bit different. I don't know if I like the color as much. I mean, I am glad it's different, because if you're going to pay $30 for a toy twice, you do want it to be different. I do think I like the regular Tigatron's bluish green more, though. His gut gun does have the little guts area painted the same shade of pink. Now, I mentioned differences between this and the renders on the box, and I said how they mostly benefited the tiger mode, and that's true. They got rid of a lot of the bluish colors. For one, the barrel of his gut gun was supposed to be that bluish green color, which I don't know if that meant it was painted that color, or if this was molded in blue and then this area is painted orange. Can't really tell from the renders. Now, this is actually more accurate to the artwork. The artwork does have it as one solid color, but it would have been a little more detailed and nice looking had it been, you know, a little more colorful than what we got. And then the more egregious example is the hands. The hands were supposed to be done in blue-green, which would be accurate to the original artwork. Though in the original artwork, not just the hands, but the forearms were also green, so it would have been close, but still no cigar. I already mentioned that this thigh area should have been white like these, though this is actually an improvement, because per the artwork, the leg area should be orange. And then finally, the heel spurs were done up in a blue plastic as well. Here, they're just orange like the feet, which I think is good for blending in with the feet. It would be weird if his heels were a different color than the rest of his feet. However, his feet are also supposed to be blue, so it looks better than how it was, but still not as good as it should have been, because these should be painted a bluish-green color, or molded a bluish-green color. So, yeah, he's got some give and take. Some of the plastic and paint changes are for the better, some are for the worse. He ends up having a paint scheme which is nearly identical to the standard Tigatrons, just different colors used. Speaking of the standard Tigatron, here he is for the group shot, and you can see again, color layouts very, very similar. And unlike the beast mode, I think I can safely say that I do prefer the white Tigatron's robot mode to this one's. I just think the colors are a lot better, and as cool as I think the whole mutant head thing is, and I'm glad we do get something with that mutant head, you know, for variety's sake, I'm still very, you know, partial to that really nice CGI-inspired Tigatron face there. So this new toy is by no means worse than the standard white version. I personally just prefer the white version. I think the colors are a bit nicer looking. It's got that pearly quality to the white plastic there. I do prefer his shade of blue-green to this one. This one I think is kind of very early 90s color clashing, kind of ugly. But I still think they're both equally great toys regardless. For another comparison, here is the other bearer of the Catbot mutant head. This is Deluxe Class Shadow Panther, also from Kingdom. And you can see they're both going for the same thing, because, he's a Cheetor retool, he's a Tigatron retool. Originally, Cheetor and Tigatron were recolors of each other as far as the old toys. So it makes sense that if they're both going to have a mutant head, they would look nearly identical. Now, obviously, the bigger toy ends up pulling it off better because it's got more room to actually breathe. The transformation's also different, which allows more clearance anyway. It's more complicated with like the inner eyes being a separate piece from the rest of the face. And overall, it just looks a little more high-end and less, squished in. Because the original mutant head, it extended out like a snout. And they can't, on either one of these, actually have it extend out that far and still maintain enough clearance. But this guy does pull it off a little bit better. The one thing I don't like about the deluxe size mutant head is it's very just crushed looking. It looks more like a helmet than an actual beast face. But given the scale and the budget and everything allotted to this, it's still a worthy effort. So they're both good, but this is a really nice opportunity just to see what more they can do with an extra, $10 or so worth of budget here. Now here is another figure that's been recolored and retooled to reflect the toy's original packaging artwork, and this is your buzzworthy Bumblebee Worlds Collide Blackarachnia, who is a new face retool of the Kingdom Blackarachnia, done up in colors meant to represent not only her original toy, but the art on her original toy's packaging as well, complete with cheetah print bosom there. So these two are kind of peas in a pod. They take a show-accurate looking toy and revert it all the way back to 1996 blister card artwork accurate. They both are kind of part of this trend that's going to continue, based on leaks we've seen, of these toy-accurate Beast Wars recolors. They're the only two that are out right now, but according to some very reliable leaks, we're also going to be getting a Toy Colors Scorponok, based on the Deluxe Class toy, and a Toy Colors Pterosaur, recolored from the Pterosaur from this very Golden Disc collection. So that's funny. And most of us don't even have this Pterosaur in hand yet, and we're already hearing about a recolor of him. So they're all just going to be part of this whole, alternate universe. What do the Beast Wars characters look like their original toys kind of setup here? Now this Tigatron takes it a step further, and he regresses to, even back before his original toy, the prototype of his toy. Which keeps things pretty interesting because you obviously want these toy decos to stand out from their regular, show-based counterparts, and Tigatron's show model wasn't too far off from his toy, unlike a lot of these other guys, so, naturally you want to kind of bump it a step further and give yourselves something quite different. So I'm looking forward to the other toy deco guys that are coming out. Hopefully we'll see more in the future. I'm willing to buy them as long as they look good. I'm not sure what other characters might be getting that treatment beyond the 4 that we know of, but I'm looking forward to seeing how creative Hasbro can be on that end. And this concludes our look at the new Golden Disc Mutant Tigatron. Overall, I do like this toy. I don't know if it's going to be everybody's cup of tea because it is based on something pretty obscure. I mean, not even the original Tigatron toy looked like this. So I'm going to say this one's really for the more hardcore Beast Wars fans and collectors. If I were to recommend, one Tigatron to get between this and the regular Kingdom one, I would say get the regular Kingdom one. It's just a better representation of that character as we know him. Unless you're really big into headcanoning, and then you can, buy this guy as a separate character. I mean, nothing's stopping you from doing that. But if you're looking for, one specific Tigatron, I get the standard one. This guy definitely has a place in my heart because I am a huge Beast Wars fan and have been since, the series came out. So I remember, seeing the old Tigatron in stores at, what store even was it? Some grocery store chain. It wasn't Walmart because we didn't have a whole lot of those where I was. But I know it was a pretty major chain, and I remember seeing, the old Beast Wars toys on shelves and seeing the Tigatron toy, wondering why, the drawing was orange but the toy was white. and finding out years later, you know, it was a prototype and they just hadn't updated the artwork and all that. So to me, it's a neat little piece of history. I enjoy it. I appreciate it. I like the mutant head. I'm glad we did get some version of this mold with the mutant head. Again, I think the backstory is kind of dumb. Not as bad as, you know, say Puffers, but not what I would have gone with personally. I think they could have done a better backstory than what they did, and I'll talk more on that when we get to Pterosaur, because his is just silly. But, yeah, the backstory is what it is. It's just like a packaging blurb on a listing, like, who cares? I'm just happy that we have him. So you can headcanon to be whatever you want. Either way, I think he's really for more niche collectors than anything. People that just really, truly appreciate Beast Wars. Because at $30, you know, not everybody is loaded. Not everyone's can just, like, laugh at $30. So I'd say only get him if you're a completionist, if you super love obscure Beast Wars references, or maybe this is just the easier Tigatron for you to get. If you have the original, I would say stick with that one. Of course, that is just my take on Tigatron, so now I want to know what you all think of him. Do you think he's as good as the regular Tigatron, or better than, or worse than? Do you want to pick this guy up? Have you picked him up already? What do you think of him? Or are you just not interested in this at all? Either, you know, you don't care about Beast Wars, or you don't like recolors, or you just think the other one's better. And, you know, feedback's always welcome in the comment section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. And thank you for joining me for this look at the new Transformers War for Seibertron Kingdom Golden Disc Collection Mutant Tigatron. That's a mouthful. And with all that said, I will see you next time.